And welcome back to the 2025 James P. McCarthy Southeast Regional Lifeguard Championship. We are, right now we're watching the Landline Rescue Race in progress. We had to break away and now we're back. We are watching the race finish up right now. The swimmers have reached their victims. The landline pullers are now pulling them in, and we're closing in on the shoreline right now.
So how long are those spools of rope? Did we say 200 yards or at least? But they all had enough line to get out. We had 8 teams competing. We still have 5 in the water, and it's a 4-man team. You have 2 pullers and 1 rescuer and 1 victim, and the obstacles are, of course, the weight of both the swimmer and the rescuer being pulled back to shore by these 2 Hulk team members that are pulling them uphill and constantly taking strands of rope and getting these guys back to shore as quickly as possible.
Right now you see the pullers picking up the victims with the help of the swimmer, and they're going to run. All 4 of them have to stay in contact as they cross the finish line in the upright position. They are not allowed to dive across the line. They have to finish in the upright position. The victim cannot run or advance in any way. The victim has to be carried. And unlike the surf rescue race, all 4 people have to cross the line together. One of them can't drop off like they did in that last race that we covered.
Right.
We're catching this at the end. We'll be able to show you the whole race when we televise the women's event. This event has gone through some changes over the years. We at one point a couple years ago we tried experimenting with the victim swimming out and dipping the flag before the rescue swimmer was going to head out there. That didn't work too well. We had a lot of crossover lines and whatnot. So we went back to the traditional method of having the victims already out at the flag line when the event starts. That seems to speed up the event a little bit and makes it safer with respect to the lines crossing over each other.
Like ideally neutral current, right? Neutral current, so those lines don't get bowed out in one direction or another. But that can eat up 30, 40 yards of line, can it not?
Absolutely. In fact, when you buy the rope online or Home Depot or wherever you get your rope, you're going to look for something called 1/4-inch twisted poly is the preferred rope that people use in this event. The problem is they only sell it in lengths of 600 feet, which is 200 yards. So you're limited to how far the flag line is out there. So you end up buying 2 spools and weaving them together or tying them together and putting them in the same bucket or on the same spool. But yeah, you'll see some of the more novice teams just show up with the 200 yards of rope and then they run out of rope if you have any type of lateral sweep or any type of surf conditions. Today though, we don't have to worry about either one of those. We have relatively flat water, not much of a lateral current, so that 600 feet of rope would be just fine for today.
Looks like it was, except there was one particular team I did notice that took their empty spool all the way out to about waist deep water. They were a smidge short. So obviously they didn't measure correctly this morning or didn't estimate, but they all got back in.
Sometimes when you get a new spool of rope, you have to pull that whole rope out on the beach and get all the kinks and twists out of it, or you get a lot of tangles in your rope. And people that don't do this all the time learn that very quickly, that if you don't have your rope seasoned, as they say, stretched out,
yes,
and getting all those twists and curves out of it, you'll get a lot of tangles and you'll get a lot of backlash if you have a spool. So sometimes the brand new rope isn't the best way to go. Sometimes you want the old seasoned rope that you've used over tournaments over years. And I think we saw a little bit of that in the men's final. Right now they're trying to determine who got what place. I'm not sure if they went with the stopwatches or the popsicle sticks or a combination of both, but I believe there was only 1 heat in the open men's landline.
Yeah, there looked like there was only 8 teams, so that would lead us to believe that women's are up next. Now, they'll be using the same line, most likely, that they're, let's just say Fort Lauderdale has a 4-person team for men's and women. They'll be using the same line, correct?
Correct. And we also tried at one point to do a mixed doubles landline.
Oh, wow.
In conjunction with that victim swimming out and dipping the line. They've also done away that in favor of the all men's and the all women's heats of this race. So we finished the men's. If you haven't done so, please go to ser.lifeguardregionals.com and you can see all the real-time events as they're posted on Skip Prosser's Lifeguard Metrics website, and you'll get to see probably before us.
Oh yeah.
Who won this event? Who got in the top 5 or the top 8? Now we're waiting for the ropes to be re-spooled and
relayed. However they do it.
Sometimes you have a big Tupperware container that you put in there. Everybody has. A lot of times, people will use laundry baskets.
Yes.
Because of the way it's easier to wash out and get the sand off your rope.
Yeah, store and rinse, yes.
It's lighter.
So Jim, you being a veteran of this event for years, I'm noticing some things out there, some different styles of padding on the shoulders. What did you prefer? What do they use? They use gloves,
so
pads.
This is gonna tell you how.
We got some time. Come on.
This is gonna tell you how old I am. When I started doing this event, if you wore any type of padding on your shoulder,
oh no,
you weren't considered a real puller.
You weren't a tough guy?
You weren't a tough guy, and the reason for that was that if you have padding on your shoulder, then it allows you to have the rope slip between your fingers, and you're losing distance on the rope. So the theory was that if you didn't use any padding and just had the rope against your skin, you would grip the rope tighter because you'd be terrified if that rope were to slip through your hands and burn a hole in your shoulder.
And a veteran of rope burns you were.
So we would do this almost always with no padding whatsoever, not even a rash guard.
Right.
Just the old, the bathing suit and the rope across the shoulder. Nowadays, you look out there and you see people look like they have full NFL shoulder pads on.
Yeah, I'm looking at people look like they may have a third head growing out of their shoulder right now with bulky dressings.
I don't want to say that they're getting softer these days, these pullers.
Better.
Maybe they're just becoming more cautious.
More cautious, more technical. They got a little trick up their sleeve or what have you.
Maybe smarter.
Maybe smarter. I can believe that too, as far as sun protection goes.
But it used to be a badge of honor to have that crease in your trap muscle where you had the rope burn you at least once or twice. You know, you could tell the war tales at the lifeguard party afterwards and how you got that vicious scar on your neck.
Right.
But nowadays, like I said, we see a lot of padding out there. That's probably the best way to go.
Probably so. I'm seeing the ladies bulk up now with shoulder padding too, the ones that are going to be participating in this. I've never seen the women's category in this particular event. This should be interesting, but equally the same. It's going to be competitive and it's worth points.
So we led the country in this event. We've had female landline in this region now since, I believe, over 20 years. I think we started in 2005. We were the only region in the country to have women's open landline, and we're very proud of that. Now it's a national event, and we like to think that we spearheaded this event and allowed women all over the country to enjoy this event. One of my favorite events.
Awesome.
From a participation standpoint and also from a spectator standpoint. And I would be remiss to say that this is not just an event that they use on the beach here at lifeguard competitions. There are beaches in New Jersey that still use this event every day in their daily ocean rescue work. They use landline for rescues in Asbury Park. A couple other southern New Jersey beaches employ the landline. And then all around the country, fire services use the landline when they have to rescue somebody out in the ocean at an unguarded beach and they don't have time or a method to get a jet ski out there. They're able to use a landline swimming out to a person. They call it a tethered swimmer out to a victim in a rip current. Sometimes they can put that rope around their waist and actually paddle a paddleboard out there, and then they'll have some pullers back there pulling them in. So this is an event that we actually use in ocean rescue.
As old as this is, as old as the dory rescues go from the Great New England area days, and the line pull, it's still applicable. And I can expect that the reason some fire departments and desolate beaches go to a landline is to endanger less people that would be rescuers.
And there's also the factor that if anyone has ever been around PWCs or jet skis, or in the lifeguarding world we call them PRWCs, they don't always start. You know, we put a lot of time into maintenance and practice and training and all that, and sometimes you turn that key and it just doesn't start. The landline will always start. You'll always have that available to you to make rescues with, and we have had situations where jet skis didn't start and we had to deploy the landline to make a rescue. And so I don't think there's ever a time where this will completely disappear, because of its utility and its relatively low cost.
Low cost, exactly.
You can buy a spool of 600 feet of rope for $20 still on the internet. So,
and a power ski?
Power ski, we're looking at 10 grand.
There
if not
you go.
More, depending if you want all the bells and whistles and the giant engine in the reverse.
And a sled.
Else. And the sled, again, you're talking $1,200 to $2,000.
All these tools are nice.
Right, but the landline will never fail you as long as you make sure that rope doesn't get tangled up, and you have some people on the rope that know what they're doing.
Right. Don't put it away in a knot. People, take care of your equipment, whether it's the board, the buoy, what have you.
We like to make the analogy that the spool or the bucket of landline rope is like a parachute. When you pull that cord, you want it to open, so when you wrap it up, you want to make sure that you do the right thing, and you're meticulous of the way you wrap it up, so when you deploy it, it'll work every time.
Right. So they're ferrying out some more victims via the personal watercraft, and they're boys. So it looks like we've got yet another men's open team heat coming up. So what say you?
Maybe it's hard to tell from here. Maybe we had some late entries, or maybe we had. It's weird that there were only 8 teams in the first heat.
Yeah, but I see men's teams lining up.
So maybe they went with the stopwatch in that first heat.
Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that, because being a veteran of a line pull event like you don't want to return to the scene of the crime, do you, immediately when you're spent?
Yeah, you're pretty much beat up after this event. This, I talked about the surf boat, the double surf boat race earlier, and how brutal it is based on its longevity. You're talking about anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes in the boat. Well, this is the most intense of all the races. It only lasts, the actual landline pulling part lasts less than 3 minutes, but it is an absolutely brutal 3 minutes. You're running up and down that beach for 3, 4, 5 pulls, depending on how far that flag line is out. And you're braking, you're dropping the rope, you're running down. So it's a series of pulls, and it's a series of recoveries where we're sprinting back down the beach with rubber legs, reaching down, grabbing that rope, and doing it over and over again. And the coordination is super key in this event. When we had it really wired, we would actually put marks on the rope so we knew exactly where to grab and where to let go. Yeah. And this race is also good if you have a spotter, somebody just off the site where you're pulling, kind of barking directions at you.
When to brake and when to run.
And sometimes it's advantageous to have somebody with binoculars standing up on a chair looking out there to make sure that the swimmer makes it to the victim before the pulling begins. A lot of times you'll have the pull start early, and you'll actually pull your swimmer away from the victim.
Before they secured them?
That's some of the most frustrating stuff ever right there.
Oh my goodness, I can imagine. Now, let's talk about topography. This is a relatively flat beach.
Right, this is a puller's dream as far as landline goes. This is like jogging down the pavement. There's really no soft sand to deal with. You can really get a good body lean into your pull. And of course your recovery's quick because you're running down hard packed sand.
Right.
This isn't always the case. There are beaches around the country, around the region, where you feel like you're running in quicksand uphill.
Uphill.
But here we have some nice flat sand. You train in that soft, sand with the uphill grade, and you get on these beaches and you're like, this is awesome.
Right. So Palm Beach, Delray South to at
brutal
to at least Lauderdale ish is a deep pitch.
Right.
So I can definitely sympathize with that.
And because each team only brings one rope mostly, that's what we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with the different teams getting the ropes ready for the next team.
Right. So it looks like another 6 or 8 teams, victims were brought out to the line. It looks like a Volusia team is in lane 2. I can ID them because of the red beanie they have on, the black jerseys. But hopefully this will be a timed event. and then we'll have the
well,
ladies follow up.
If we look back at that surf rescue race, it wasn't. Remember?
I know.
We went to a final. So like I said, I know we take a lot of competitor input. So I'm sure the officials down there will talk to everybody, and the pullers themselves, the swimmers, the landline competitors will decide whether they want to do, you know, a final championship heat, or whether they just want to go with stopwatch times. But that'll be, we'll have to wait to see what they decide on that.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of downtime they're going to have between this event and the ladies, because I'm sure the ladies are probably only going to have one heat. It just depends on the number of beach patrols that combine. But we'll learn shortly. This should be fun, though. We didn't get to see the start of the first heat of the line pull, so this should be good.
They're doing a co-ed landline as well?
I'm not sure. I thought I heard her say co-ed.
I
didn't see that in the schedule, but
I didn't know that we were going back to the co-ed landline, but I thought we did away with that. But I guess the officials on the beach have other ideas. Maybe I'm not in the loop.
We'll follow their lead and take a break here, and we'll be right back.
The more events, the better.
Going out for my favorite part of the job, my paid training hour every day. So yeah, if you like to train and you love the water, come be a Volusia County lifeguard.
I value people's lives. I want to be someone on that right chair saving people.
I know that they always save people's lives, and they're really disciplined, and they're a good lifeguarding organization, and I just wanted to do something meaningful, like help people.
This is his new mic. Can you hear me?
If you like to train and you love the water, come be a Volusia County lifeguard.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Irina Marks.
And what are you out here doing today?
I'm training to be lifeguard. It's my second job.
All right. And what's your day job?
I work for Advent Health, medical assistant in neurosurgery.
Awesome. And what made you want to become a lifeguard in your spare time?
I like to help people and be outside a little.
What's been the hardest part about lifeguard training?
Definitely, I'm not a swimmer, doing the 500-meter swim, but once you get past that hurdle, it's pretty easy from there.
What's been your favorite part about training?
Going out on mock rescues, definitely the best part.
How'd you hear about the lifeguard recruit class?
My friends, but also just seeing them. I looked it up, and I filled out that application.
How long have you wanted to be a lifeguard for?
Ever since I moved here, so about 8 months ago. Yeah.
What's your favorite part so far?
Just thought of saving people.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Thinking that same thing, babe. Don't stop yet. You're crushing it. Good job,
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jumped up like a lion, tangles in my hair. Call me what you want, I don't care. I'm on fire in my underwear, doing what I want, like a millionaire. I turn it up another notch. I rock it loud and make it hot. I spike the punch and make it pop. Don't stop. Living my best life, living my best life. Do what I feel like, living my best life. Staying up all night, keeping it alright. Do what I feel like, living my best life, living my best life.
Welcome back to the 2025 James P. Mac McCarthy Southeast Regional Lifeguard Championship. I'm Jim McCready, and you are, sir?
Jack Driscoll from Volusia County, retired captain here with the beach. We've got second heat of open men's landline, Jim, with 7 in this heat.
Well, yeah, I believe we had 8 in the first heat, 7 in this heat. 5 from each heat will make it to the final. If they do, in fact, have a final, we're not sure if they're going with stopwatch times or whether they're going to actually have a final. Nobody's told us that, but we can only speculate. The swimmers are out. They've reached the victims, and now the pullers are beginning that hard pull in.
So the leader team had ran short of line, and one of the pullers had to run all the way out into about waist-deep water with the spool. They were short just a little bit because we're getting that shore current that's bowing that landline out a little bit.
And those are some of the things you have to contend with here in this event. When the line swimmer is swimming the line out, your pullers will be out in the water lifting the rope up in the air, trying to eliminate as much of that bow in the rope as possible. You'll see that.
Another spool is run short in lane 3, and they're in chest-deep water with the very end of their rope.
It looks like chin-deep water at this point.
Chin-deep now. They're going.
This is a real big disadvantage for this team because now they're not in a really advantageous place where they can begin their pull. They're going to have to kind of do this weird bunny hop on the way in. But they'll never make this mistake again. I guarantee the next time they do this event, they'll have plenty of rope.
And their swimmer is done, and they've been waving the flag, and these guys are at eye level with the surf, and they can't see. They can't see. Now they've totally submerged the flag.
Anyway, this will be interesting.
And now they're side stroking.
This is ugly.
Valuable time lost there.
Anyway, they'll learn a lesson, and a lot of spectators watching this event will learn that lesson vicariously through them. So it's not a complete loss here. We're learning here, folks. We have a couple teams pulling. They're headed in here. You can see some of the teams have their pullers very close together on the rope, and some teams will use a different strategy where they try to keep the pullers as far apart as possible. To get the rope moving at the highest rate of speed, the idea is to keep 2 pullers on the rope as long as possible.
Right.
So there's all kinds of, you have to really coordinate this out. Like I said, some teams will actually mark the rope so they know where their breaks are, where their grabs are. But a lot of teams will just play it by ear, or they'll have a caller shouting out to them direction as far as when to break, when to grab.
Lane 5 is in the same boat of not enough rope, Jim. They are neck-deep water, bobbing up and down, waiting for their swimmer to make it to the buoy line.
So when you're buying that rope, that 1/4-inch twisted poly at Home Depot, or maybe you're buying it on Amazon.com, make sure you buy the 2 spools of 600 feet of rope. And you're going to have to weave those, braid those, or tie those together to get line long enough so that you can compete at this event and be competitive.
Oh, that's so disheartening to see that happen after the swimmer made such a great swim out to the lane line. But, hey, it happens. They'll learn. Valuable lesson.
I remember Lifeguard Nationals in 2000. I believe it was in San Diego, and we had some very big surf that year. The surf was so big that they had to put the flag line 300 meters out in the water. So everybody needed 2 landlines tied together. And when they were pulling in the victims, some of the pulling teams had to pull 10 to 12 times. One of the most exhausting events I've ever seen.
Oh, my goodness.
But typically in this region, if you have your flag line out 150 yards, you shouldn't have to do more than 4 pulls, and that's what we're looking at today.
So each man on the line pull tandem has to do about 4 pulls of about, what, 50?
Yeah, anywhere from 50 to 75 yards, depending on where your breaks are. But we have some teams finishing.
Yeah.
And as I said before, in this event, all 4 people have to finish together, and they all have to be in an upright standing position. You can't have any teams diving across the line.
Looks exhausting, even with the flat beach like we were talking about with the topography here, with your virtually running on soft concrete instead of an uphill climb. like in South Florida, it's by the third or fourth pull, you're feeling it.
Absolutely. And so when you're training for this event, you make sure you do those extra pulls. A lot of pullers will practice with a big block of cement or maybe a log or whatever they have on their beach, and they'll just drag it up and down the beach and make sure that they get their legs in really good shape for this event.
I've seen Volusia use a tractor tire.
Tractor tire, I like that.
Boy, now I'll tell you, that gets some odd looks from beachgoers.
What we did, we would take a 5-gallon bucket, we'd fill it up with cement, and we'd put an eye screw in there, and we'd tie a piece of rope to that, and we'd pull that up and down the beach, sometimes 3 times a day when we were really training for this event.
And a casual beach walker on the beach would probably have a confused gaze on their face as they walk by.
Absolutely, but if you're in a Speedo anyway, you're getting some weird looks.
Oh my goodness.
So we don't care about that.
Yeah.
It's all about life-saving. It's not a fashion show out here.
That's a visual I didn't expect, but okay. All right, it's all about training and professionalism, folks, and if you're on the Landline team, then that's what we're going to go with.
It's a different breed of person that pulls that landline.
Well, it is. The life-saving breed is a unique individual anyway.
And to tell you what, we talk about the different events that we have, and that's a good highlight to that point, is maybe you're not the best swimmer in the world, right? Maybe you didn't swim on a age group or high school swim team, but you played football or you wrestled and you have some strength and some resistance training background, and then you may want to jump in a landline and pull that rope, or you may want to learn how to row in a rowboat.
Right.
Or you might want to do the beach flags, which we'll see coming up, I believe is it today or tomorrow?
It's tomorrow, I do believe.
So you'll see the different skill sets that the different athletes here have. There are those that can do all the events. Those are our Ironman competitors, Iron Women competitors, and those are a very elite group of people. But for the most part, people like to specialize at these life-saving contests.
I've noticed that, especially you could see which ones they parallel together. If you'll see a 4x100 team, you're going to see a good beach flag team as well. Right?
Absolutely. And you usually, if you're picking your run relay team, you'll pick your fastest beach flagger to lead off your run relay team because they typically have the fastest start.
Yeah, that's key. Yeah, because the starting get up on the beach flags is the utmost important. Those first 10 yards is what generally wins the round in beach flags, which is so exciting. It's such a spectator-friendly event, and we're going to be moving that final event, the finals for that event, to the Ocean Deck, one of our host supporters, 6:30 tomorrow evening.
That'll be fun for sure. They definitely know how to host a party at the Ocean Deck for sure.
Right. Now, and then also your swimmers, their parallel events would be some like our last interview. We'll cross over into another craft sport such as paddling. Right?
If you have a good feel for the water as a swimmer, and you learn that feel as a competitive swimmer, especially at a college level like Casey Francis, that's a very easy transition to paddling because you're also going to be grabbing that water and feeling that grab, so to speak, when you start your paddle stroke. So a lot of those same skill sets that you have in competitive swimming will translate over to paddling. And then just general athleticism. If you're a good enough athlete at anything, you can change that into another event. We used to get Doug Flutie, the famous football player.
I met him several times.
Used to come to our regional lifeguard championships, and this guy was in his late 40s, and he was winning beach flag events. I think he won his age group, and he made open finals as a 48-year-old guy. So sometimes just like pure athleticism can win out over everything.
He was a quick fella, and he was just as nice and outgoing as he could be, and a huge supporter of Brevard County's Ocean Rescue Team.
Absolutely, and he jumped in the rowboat, and he got 7th in the open singles row, which blew a lot of our minds. We expected him to be a fast runner based on his football background, but we had no idea he could jump in a rowboat and put on a clinic like that for a first-time surfboat rower.
He's an all-around athlete. When we were talking, I think it was Flagler County, and we hosted regionals years ago when we were in the South Atlantic region, and he was up there tossing the football with guys. And he told me he'd been busy all spring and summer in an amateur baseball league. Wow. So he's a baseball player too.
So the story was told to me that he had moved to Brevard County. What is this, about 8 years now? 8 years ago, something like that?
At least.
And he was just out on the beach jogging every morning to keep in shape in his new neighborhood. And he saw the lifeguards working out on the beach, and he went up to him and he was like, "Hey guys, what are you doing? Is this some type of fitness camp or something?" And they were like, "No, we're professional ocean lifeguards that are trained for our jobs." And he went, "Well, you mind if I train with you guys?" And he started to train with these guys. He developed a respect for that group of lifesavers, and he actually took their water test and became a full-fledged lifeguard for Brevard County, which allowed him to compete in the regionals that year.
And he bankrolled some of their trips.
He was very generous in being a sponsor for their competition team for sure.
He showed up or sponsored his team out of Brevard County in Sarasota some years ago, and they had air-conditioned beach tents.
Wow, air-conditioned tent.
I know.
I wish I had one of those right now.
I know. I don't think they lasted very long, but it was just one of those things. I go, okay, Flutie, enough.
So if you're wondering why we're talking so much, we're killing time in between the open men's heats in the Landline and the open women's heats. They're now getting the lines re-spooled. The officials are marshaling people into lanes, and there's a little officials discussion going on there on the beach, deciding on what worked and didn't work so we can make this next leg of the Landline even more efficient. We have 2 more heats coming up. We have the women's open, and we also have the mixed doubles co-ed Landline. This is also coming up. And then I believe we may be going back to the open men's.
If you're not relaxing with your toes in the sand and a drink in your hand, then all we can say is we wish you were here at the ocean deck. Whether you're dining with the family upstairs or partying in the sand downstairs, at Ocean Deck, we serve up a delicious menu, unbeatable drink specials, and the best live entertainment on the beach. Visit oceandeck.com to see the menu and events. So come on, let's get happy at the Ocean Deck.
Ocean Deck, voted the #1 beach bar in USA Today's 2025 Reader's Choice Awards.
No matter how many boats you own or rent, Sea-Tow has you covered. When you choose Sea-Tow, you're not just getting priority on-water assistance. You are getting a network of U.S. Coast Guard licensed captains that are ready to help 24/7. With nationwide coverage in over 500 ports, Sea-Tow is on scene in an average of 1 hour or less. Adventure better. Leave the worries to us. Sea-Tow. Are you a member?
My name is Tony Beasley. I became a full-time lifeguard because I enjoy helping people and I love working outdoors.
My name's Marin, and I want to be a lifeguard because my dad used to be one and I like being on the beach.
My name is Ricky, and the reason I chose to be a Volusia County lifeguard is because I like the lifestyle, working out, staying in shape, helping people out. It's a labor of love for me, and that's why I chose to be a lifeguard.
And we're back. Welcome back to the 2025 James P. Mac McCarthy Southeast Regional Lifeguard Championships, brought to you by the United States Lifesaving Association and Volusia County Beach Safety. We're here at the beautiful Hard Rock Hotel here on Daytona Beach. My name is Jim McCready. I'm the Southeast Regional Competition Director, and I'm here with Jack Driscoll.
Hey, here from Volusia County, gladly retired captain with Volusia County. And we're here for the third heat, which is the women's heat in Landline, which is an exciting event to watch the girls go at it. It's a 4-person team from each respective team, and they're getting lane assignments right now. We should be getting started here in a short few moments.
And after this all women's heat, we're going to go into the mixed doubles, where we have 2 women and 2 men, and there's also some strategy involved in that as far as who pulls who swims and what kind of athletes you have on your beach and how you can use them the best. And then after that, I believe we're going to go to an open men's final landline event. So we have a little bit of landline coming up, 3 more heats.
Yeah, it's kind of a reboot because if you talk 10 lanes, 200 plus feet of line coming out of each lane, now you have over 2,000 feet, right? 2,000 feet of, or 2,000 yards of landline laying about to where you have to get it back respooled into their respected baskets or what have you and ready it for the next heat. So there's a little cleanup time.
It's super important that you wrap it up the right way. On our team in the old days, we had one person specifically tasked with that, and they knew exactly how to rewrap that rope so we didn't get any tangles. Very important.
So if you coil it correctly, you're not going to have any problems. On a smaller scale, but on a more dangerous scale, it kind of reminds me of Deadliest Catch. You watch those guys.
Oh yeah, where those guys get pulled into the water.
Yeah, if they don't spool it or keep it around their ankles, yeah, they have to spool it incredibly correctly, so there's no mishaps.
So it looks like they're almost ready to go here. In the old days, they used to allow you to lay the rope out on the beach. You used to be able to take your whole, 300 plus yards of rope and actually lay it out on the beach before the event. So there was literally no chance of getting any type of tangles or anything. But that took so long in just the preparation to set up the event, we decided to get away with that and have everything self-contained. It's allowed us to speed up the event a little bit.
It took up a lot of room, too. A lot of real estate.
A lot of room, and it depended on the venue whether you could even do that or not.
Right.
If you had a really narrow beach, especially today with all the beach erosion, a lot of the beaches wouldn't be able to accommodate that. But a big wide beach like Daytona Beach, it wouldn't be a problem at all.
So we're waiting for the victims to be separated from their teams, and they'll get run out to the flag line, the lane lines, the side lane lines, and by way of jet ski, by way of personal watercraft. And then we should be set as soon as they all get into their lanes. Got a nice breeze though now coming off the ocean. We were hurting for a little fresh air up here earlier today, and we were also in line for a poor forecast as far as rain goes, but boy, things have turned out wonderful.
Yeah, this is great. I'll take this breeze all day long. That sweat box that we had this morning, although we didn't have a lot of sun, we had a ton of humidity and just dead air. And this ocean breeze feels awesome.
Now, we're getting a little chop on the water. I'm seeing some whitecaps starting to appear. I'm seeing a little surface current to the north, and maybe a little bit of a swell in the slough going into the shore break. I don't know if that's going to affect any of the events this afternoon, but I'm seeing some changes in the course.
This will definitely affect the landline event. As we talked about earlier, if you have any type of lateral or sideways current, that creates a giant bow in the rope, which makes it harder for the swimmer to get out because there's more drag. The more rope you have in the water, the more drag there is on the swimmer, on your rescue swimmer. And of course, if there's more rope, that means more pulling has to take place to get all that rope back to shore, which means these landline pullers might have to do an extra evolution, which they're definitely not looking forward to. So you'll see the veteran teams will be out in the water trying to keep that rope as high as possible, trying to eliminate as much bow and as much drag as they possibly can. And there's a lot of streamlining that's also very important in this event. It's not necessarily how big or small your victim and your swimmer are all the time. Sometimes it just has to do with how good you can streamline and whether you can keep that swimmer and victim directly in each other's draft, so that you don't have a wide area to pull in. So it's more sometimes about area than size or weight of the victim and the swimmer.
These victims and rescuers, they will streamline in torpedo fashion without taking many breaths, from what I understand.
There's a lot of breath holding on the way in for sure.
Now, as far as the swimmer pulling that line with this shore current and the wind chop now, are they feeling a ton of resistance the further they get out?
Yeah, absolutely. And, let's talk about that for a second. So in a swimming pool, there's all kinds of body types that lend themselves to being fast swimmers. You have skinny people that do the perfect arm finger drag across the surface of the water. You have all kinds of different body shapes and styles that can kind of, but to be the swimmer for this event, you have to be an animal. You have to be that big giant swimmer who has incredible power. A lot of the taller swimmers that have wider shoulders and can really generate a lot of power from their legs are good at landline swimming. Sometimes the fastest swimmer on your beach might be a smaller individual that isn't really the power swimmer that you need for this event. Sometimes it's just your big angry guy or big angry woman,
yes,
in the cases of the female event here, that just has that extra gear that just puts it into animal mode. And at the very end of that landline swim, you're kicking as hard as you can and you're just trying to grab as much water, and it's a very difficult swim.
Larger capacity for just bulk, sheer pull, not for speed.
It's definitely
it's
not a
survival.
finesse swim. It's a power swim.
Right, right.
And a lot of these beaches will do tryouts ahead of time where they'll have swimmers swim out a line or even swim out a rope with a bucket behind them just to see what kind of drag that they can pull against to see who their landline swimmer is going to be.
Now, I noticed in the last heat, a couple of the teams were short on rope. Is there an emergency fix to that, or they're just running with what they got? I didn't notice.
Well, short of an emergency trip to Home Depot or maybe like an Instacart call, getting some rope delivered, I think at that point you have to maybe go up to the beaches or the teams that didn't make finals or aren't in the event and go, hey, do you mind if we attach your rope to our rope in case we run out of rope? I've definitely seen that over the years happen.
Okay.
But sometimes if it's a competitive team race, you may not want to loan that.
They give them the no.
You might not want to loan that rope out to that team that's competing against you for the team championship. But there's not a lot of that goes on here. We have a lot of good sports and a lot of camaraderie going on.
Right.
It's all about the fun. Trophies come secondary.
But there is another heat. There is another heat, so I don't know if they want to, want to give up their spool and then have to dissect it again after this event's over. Who knows? But we'll see. It just looked interesting that some of those poor kids that swam out to the buoy line, only to find that their drag team here on the beach was in neck-deep water at a huge disadvantage. Well, we'll just have to go with what they got. Okay, looks like a couple more victims need to be brought out, and then we'll get this show on the road. So I see a full schedule.
So I would guess in this event that Fort Lauderdale, I would guess Destin and Volusia County might be our three favorite teams here, just based on past regional championship results. But who knows? There could be some up-and-coming teams here. They're going to surprise everybody. This is a unique skill set. The people that pull the line are, like I said, they're the people that spend the time in the weight room. They have the big quads. They were good at pushing a blocking sled in football. If you have some really good pullers and your swimmer isn't quite top caliber, sometimes your pullers can pull you past other teams. A lot of times, though, it's just the fastest swimmers and the pullers are just holding the position.
Right.
But I've seen everything happen in this race.
And team size, Lauderdale, we know, brought a bona fide team of girls. We saw that.
They had full. I think they had two full 4-person teams in the surf rescue race. So I'm imagining they're going to use those same two groups of 4 women for this event.
Yeah. And then Volusia, being the home team, has the advantage of we have the resources. And then, of course,
Right.
the Destin group brought a big team.
They brought a big team, and a lot of the lifeguards over the years, they get a lot of foreign exchange lifeguards from Australia. And
I was wondering, were you going to mention the Australia?
To be honest, I don't know what kind of team they have this year, but they've been very lucky to get those competitors from Australia. And they've been instrumental in teaching these newer generations of panhandle lifeguards how these events are properly run, and they're giving them valuable techniques on paddling and swimming and surf dashing. And, that is invaluable. I'm sure every beach in the country would love to have a handful of Australians to teach them the finer points of life-saving sport. But Destin is really taking advantage of that, and I'm just assuming that they have a couple today. I haven't looked at the roster yet. But it's let's take a look. We have all of our victims out at the flag line.
I think we still got a couple
we still have a
waiting in
couple
the
more,
water.
okay.
Yeah, they're only bringing them out 2 by 2. I'd load that ski up with a few more. Those girls don't weigh that much, but
yeah, well, maybe if
whatever.
they just had them all swim out at the same time, they'd already all be out there.
They
but
would have. Of course they would have. You
But
know they
we don't
would've.
know
So,
that. Everybody has their own ideas.
Yeah, we're splitting atoms there. Volusia County was the recipient of an ace from Australia after we hosted Worlds years ago, and Corey McMeeking. And of course, we got him recruited by his future wife.
Wow.
She didn't know she was going to be his future wife, but he was an ace paddler and Ironman, and we got him. And now we've got 3 boys under the McMeeking name that they've spawned between the 2 of them, and they're all outstanding swimmers. They haven't gotten to this level yet. They're 15.
So they have their own little nipper camp there, it seems like.
They do, and they're going to be good ones. Now, like we were talking about earlier, once you get to a level of swimmer, are they going to risk the risk reward of coming?
I'm guessing that they're going to take that risk, knowing that they have lifeguard parents.
You hear that, Corey? I do.
Because if your kid doesn't make it onto that scholarship college team, the skills and the camaraderie and the friendships that they develop in junior lifeguard programs are sometimes even more valuable than all that. So you gotta kind of weigh it out, and you want some well-rounded kids that are good at a lot of different things versus having kids that are only good at one thing. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I had that same struggle with my son as a competitive high school swimmer and a junior lifeguard competitor, and we were able to reach a good balance in that capacity.
And keep them injury-free and keep them engaged in both. It's a win-win if you can lock them in at least for 2 or 3 summers.
And a lot of these junior lifeguard programs are excellent farm teams for professional lifeguards.
Right now,
we've seen that in South Florida for sure.
Have you seen results there too?
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to track them was not a big deal a few years ago, pre-COVID.
Right.
And because we had a surplus, so to speak. And since then, as we searched for routes of keeping them reemployed and recruitment purposes, you go, now wait a minute, how many 15-year-olds do we have in this year's juniors?
Right.
Come Christmas, we need to be on the phone to them, to get them in the
you got to keep them involved.
Yes.
Sometimes junior lifeguard programs will have monthly events where their off-season juniors will get together for a fundraiser or a party or bowling or whatever it is, just to keep everybody still involved, make it more of a year-round team atmosphere.
Right. And we've moved in Volusia County, instead of from a traditional spring break was our no-end recruit week. Now we're doing it in the winter.
Okay, we have our female landline teams in the hand of the starters. They are off. So now we have our line swimmers headed out with their fins in their hands. They usually have a spool or 2 of rope in their hand, and then their pullers are running out after them. They're going to hold that rope as high as they can to eliminate any of that bowing or that drag that we talked about earlier. And this is a delicate balance, right? How far do they go out into the water, holding their hands up high, and still allowing for enough time to be able to get back to the flat, dry sand where they can start their landline pull.
Minimizing resistance on that surface chop is key. I get it, but like you said, they got to be ready.
If you're too far out and you can't get back in time, that's really going to cost your team some time. So you have to do a lot of practice in this event to get it down just right.
I don't see a lot of bow in the lines, and all 10 lanes are occupied.
Looks like everybody's getting out clean. I see a lot of straight courses. Although that team in the second lane looks like they might be adding a little bit to the north. Look at that, they're doing a little butterfly.
Yeah.
You see that? You don't normally see a lot of butterfly in the landline swim, but I like it.
Boy, there she goes again in lane 2 doing butterfly. That is impressive. She did 2 or 3 strokes of butterfly.
Now she switched back to the open crawl.
Now, that could have been for peak purposes, too, to check out her lane position, maybe.
Or maybe just showing off to the other swimmers.
Well, I'm impressed.
It worked with me. I'm definitely impressed.
It worked with me.
I can't even do butterfly. I don't have the coordination.
Now, clarify with me. They're wearing fins.
They are wearing fins. It's
Okay.
not mandatory. You don't have to have fins.
Oh, I would.
But it's definitely a disadvantage if you don't have them. We've had landline swimmers in the past that refused to wear fins. They just thought they were faster without them. But nowadays, almost everybody wears fins. And like I said in the surf rescue race, the type of fins you use, there's a lot of factors that go into that. One of them is cost. Do you want to spend $300 on a pair of carbon fiber fins that were made in Italy?
That sink.
That sink, then you could lose them, and or they could crack and break. They are an advantage if you train with them and if you have strong enough legs to utilize the advantages of those fins. Most of the people in these events just use their regular tower fins.
Right.
They'll use their duck feet or their defin fins, whatever they have on their patrol.
Churchill's still around?
Churchills are still around. Some swimmers will use those, but mostly it's the defins from what I've seen.
The orange and yellow defense out of Hawaii seem to be the go-to. Yeah, that's what our beach uses here.
And we get a great discount from Defin through the USLA, one of our national sponsors. So that plays big into it as well.
So this is close.
Is that a crossed over line? I can't really tell what's going on over
It
there.
looks like it is a crossed over line.
Looks like they're sorting that out.
I think they got it straight now.
I
But
don't believe anyone started to pull yet. So here's what we were talking about earlier. We have some of the feeders, as we call them, the people that feed the rope out, are way out there, or they're going to be able to get back to the shore to start their pull in time. This is a real juggling act.
okay, lane 1 is completely out of line, and they are 30 feet offshore already.
That's not a good look.
That's not a good look. They have that short current.
They
that's
have a laundry basket in their hand, it looks like.
And lane 6 has begun to pull already.
And usually the team that starts pulling first is usually the team that wins, unless there's some type of mishap or cross line or something. Usually it's all about the swimmer, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on here. And there's also a strategy, too, with respect to what kind of pullers you want. Some people like the big, giant lineman-type pullers. Other people like the super small.
The quick like a cat?
Yeah, the fast speedsters. And some people like a combination of those two on their team. It just depends.
Right.
I think the most important thing for landline pullers, though, is pain threshold.
Yeah.
Regardless of how big they are or how fast they are, it's how much burning in their quads they can put up with.
And durability. I mean, do they start slacking on their return downhill? They just rest?
Right. Some are really good on the pull, but they're really slow in their recovery.
Partner not so happy?
Some are super fast on the recovery, but when they're on the rope itself, there's not a whole lot of torque being given there. So it's a combination of both. So
now,
I'm seeing some awesome pulling here, though. This is really amazing to watch.
Now, how much time are both of you on the rope? Or is it as soon as you feel the slack, you're letting go?
Like I said, it's either it could either be practice on the rope with your partner, just knowing where they are at all times. Sometimes you can actually mark the rope so you know where your grabs and where your breaks are. And a lot of times you'll have somebody on your team that isn't involved in the team yelling at you, telling you when to grab it and when to drop it.
Yep, lane 1 has finally reached the flag. And they're now initiating their walk back to shore. There comes our leader over there. Looks like lane 6 maybe.
Can you see what team that is? Oh, it looks like Fort Lauderdale, right? We got the...
not the orange tops.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. Orange bottoms.
Orange bottoms, blue and white. Maybe that may be one of your Emerald Coast teams.
Not sure.
And I thought Fort Lauderdale might have been lane 2.
Well, you have to give any team with Casey Francis on it an advantage.
Yes.
Just based on her swimming ability, her athleticism, and just her experience doing this event now for the last 4 years. multiple-time champion.
Their pullers are covered up with shirt and padding. So
and
it's
you
gonna
can
be
see
hard.
the fatigue
Yeah.
of those pullers on the beach right there. That's a painful feeling right there. I know exactly how that feels.
Quads are turning to rubber in the waning moments of the pull, and they still have to carry a victim.
It looks like we have, about 3 teams finished?
2, 3, 4,
And
4 teams are across. Yeah,
we have another
yes.
4 teams or so that are still trying to finish up. What is that floating out there?
I think it's a buoy that
So
came
that
off.
happens as well. Sometimes the buoy, if it's not set up right with your landline, will come disattached. And that is a disqualification. If your buoy comes unattached to your landline, that's an immediate disqualification.
And take that further, the swimmer and the victim are lost it. They're out offshore.
All right. So it looks like one team is out for a variety of different reasons.
Short line to start with, and who knows what happened out there on the exchange.
But I guarantee they've learned some life lessons here that they'll never repeat again. The lesson might be, I'm never doing landline again. Or it might be, hey, we can tighten this up a little bit, get a longer rope, hook up our buoy a little bit better. We'll see how this plays itself out.
It was something minor, and hopefully it doesn't impress them as something major, but the line was too short. And from there, you know, things went totally south. So yeah,
south to the north though.
To the north, things went north badly, and they're getting a humbling ride in on the personal watercraft. So hey, things happen. It looked like Lauderdale was in lane 2.
Yeah, I see them.
Judging from the orange tops now.
I believe those are Joe Lynn bathing suits.
I believe they
one
are.
of our title sponsors.
Yep, come up onto the pool
I'm sorry,
deck.
supporters.
Supporters, one of our supporters.
We do
Joe
not
Lynn.
have sponsors here.
No.
We have supporters.
And Jolene's
no
been
one's being paid. We're all volunteers.
They've been a huge supporter for years and years and years, and they sell the suits that work.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're functional, they look good, so hey.
And they're fast. They're
more
built for
power
racing.
to her. And she's at every event. I see her at swim meet pool decks. I see her at regionals. I see her at nationals. So hey.
And from what I understand, they really treat their employees well. I know people that have worked for Joe Lynn, and they've gone on to run their own Joe Lynn businesses and make a pretty good penny for themselves.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that wraps up the women's division of line pool. I do believe now we maxed out at 10 in that heat. So we'll see. Maybe there were a few that didn't get in the first heat that want to participate, and we'll go with that. If not, we're going to go into the co-ed as soon as we can reassemble the lines.
I believe this may be the co-ed, or maybe they're going to rest the co-ed people for the open men.
That would be fair.
We don't really know what's going to happen here. We're assuming that a lot of the people that were in the previous heat will also be in this heat. So I don't know how the officials are going to handle that. But I'm sure they're going to consult the athletes, find out what's best for everybody to make it fair, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, there's going to be an overlap either way. And I see some exhausted ladies, so yeah, they're going to have to give them a refreshment break, if anything, to get ready.
Well, we're coming up on 3 o'clock. We got a majority of the events done, right? What else? What do we got coming up?
Coming up at 3 p.m., we're going to be a little behind schedule, but the American Ironman and Iron Woman, which is a real fun one. And then that should, and we'll go into some age groups with that too.
So
and we are doing beach flags preliminaries today.
Right. So we only have 2 events after this.
Right.
So one of my favorite events. I know I say that every event is my favorite event, but from a spectator standpoint, not from a participant standpoint, the American Ironman, American Iron Woman event is a great event to watch, because you'll see the people, the athletes that get to apply the 4 different disciplines. This is definitely an endurance event. It's run, paddle, swim, and row. So you're going to see these single surfboat rowing skills.
And there's a little bit of a run in between each leg, correct?
There is. There's about a 100-yard transitional run in between each leg.
Okay, in order of skills, Is that set or is that draw on the pond?
It used to be drawn through popsicle sticks at the beginning of the race, but now it's a set order.
Okay.
For safety reasons, we always do swim, paddle, row. We don't like it when there's swimmers in the water and people jump in the rowboats
with the craft. Yeah.
And then they have some speed bumps in the water.
Yeah,
we don't like that. We like to keep it safe. We're still waiting on the single surf boat. I'm guessing that's going to happen right after the Landline, but I haven't heard from anybody.
They're calling teams for mixed Landline right now.
So it appears that the mixed Landline is up next. There's going to be a lot of exhausted people in this event.
Yeah, there may be somebody that bow out.
In their respective gender-based events, whether they're men or women, they're now going to join forces in this co-ed event.
I see Fort Lauderdale's line pulled ladies standing together and not moving. So they're not paying any attention to this co-ed call for now. They're rehashing their previous race. So although Casey Francis is wandering around like, hey, I'm up. So we shall see as they get assembled. And again, like I said, we have 2,000 yards of quarter-inch neoprene line lying about that has to be disentangled. And that's the first and foremost thing before we get in and move on to another event. So it's going to be a second. And then, of course, they'll assemble the teams that are going to participate and give them a course outline, make sure they have enough lanes for everybody that is going to be involved in this final Landline event. Again, 2 more events after this today, and then we got to throw in a single row, I do believe, where we ran out of time for our lunch break, and hopefully we'll be able to knock that out.
So again, events coming up. We have another 2 heats of Landline. We have the mixed doubles or co-ed Landline, and we have our open men's final Landline. But then we have single surfboat. Then we go into our Ironman events, and then we finish up with our beach flags prelims and age group beach flags.
So single surfboat, that's going to be open, men's and women's, and then age groups. Correct?
For what?
For the singles row.
No, that's only an open event. It's a very quick event. It's
Okay,
only
good.
typically 2 heats, 1 man, one woman. Just depends on the number of boats on the beach. It looks like we only have 9 boats, so it'll be real quick.
Okay.
I don't know why we didn't start off with that after lunch breaks, but I'm sure the officials have a good reason for that.
And is that going to be a 1-lapper or 2-lapper?
That is a 1-lapper. That's
Okay,
a
good.
pure, flat-out sprint.
Okay.
A lot of tie-ups in this event.
Yeah.
So it's all about who gets out clean.
And it's going to be a different race this afternoon by virtue of the wind. Yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally different, especially if you're rowing singles. You don't have as much power in the boat with respect to the 2 rowers. You only have 1 person. And you also float a little higher in the water, which allows the wind to kind of blow the boat around. So there's a lot more skill involved in singles rowing. And, we'll see how it plays out. Always exciting, but like I said, a lot of tie-ups. The race is won or lost on the start.
As far as steering the boat with a wind chop with 1 person, are they concentrating on a shoreline landmark and emphasizing one shoulder and arm over another to bear to one direction or another constantly?
So a lot of your better singles surfboat rowers are typically bow rowers because they know how to steer the boat around the course, and they know exactly what you said. They know what landmarks to look for, and they're generally used to steering the boat. I talked about it a little bit earlier when it comes to the surfboat setup. Huge advantage to having your boat set up for singles. A lot of these boats are not set up for singles, so you're going to see rowers making the decision to whether sit in the bow seat or sit in the stern seat. and what seat will give them the best advantage. So what you'll see is if you're rowing into the wind, a lot of these rowers will be in the bow seat, and then they'll actually jump back to the stern seat on the way in.
Oh, wow.
When they're in, when they have the wind at their back and it's helping them in. So you'll see a lot of that. It has to do with, how the boat is weighted, whether the boat itself is balanced correctly for your single setup. Anyway, we'll all get to see that bear itself out, hopefully after these last two Landline events.
Now, Jim, I've seen in larger surf, in the singles row, I've seen them, if they're on a long runner and it starts to get a little squirrely, a little out of control, I've seen them abandon their seat and go to the stern to get that skeg in the water a little bit better.
Absolutely. So if you're on any type of wave at all and you're rowing singles, it's advantageous to go back to the transom, sit in the middle of the transom and hold on for dear life. You can also extend your arms to either corner and use that to lean one way or the other. You can actually steer the boat like a surfboard if you know how to do it and you've been doing it for a while. A lot of the people on the smaller surf will actually get cocky and they'll stand up in the back of the boat.
Oh my.
And they'll actually surf the boat itself like a surfboard. If the surf is larger, you'll see people deploying what we call the sea anchor maneuver, where the person will actually jump completely out of the boat, but they'll hold on to the transom and use their whole body as a skeg kind of, and almost like a...
They're in a pull-up position off the transom.
And their body will actually slow the boat down.
And straighten it.
So they don't go, bow over stern. We call that pole pitching in surf boat racing. We try to avoid that at all costs.
Yeah, that could end in injury.
Maybe not today with the small surf, but in California in a couple weeks for sure, they're expecting some pretty large surf out there in Huntington Beach.
So we'll see some survival skills of a different level out there. Today we're probably not going to see a whole lot of movement once they position themselves in their preferred, like you said, the bow position, maybe back to the stern with a tailwind. But other than that, they're going to, it's going to be a pretty cut and dried standard row.
So I'm not sure what the delay is. I'm guessing it's just the same thing we've been dealing with for the past couple of heats, just waiting for people to spool up the ropes, to lay them out, but at this point we've already done how many heats of this? We've done...
This is 5, I think.
Yeah, so we've done a bunch of heats of this, so there shouldn't be any guesswork from the competitor standpoint. They should all know exactly how this event is run. I guess it's all just about getting your team together, getting everybody marshaled, and getting your equipment ready for the race.
Yeah, they're getting marshaled lane assignments, and of course the personal watercraft is waiting as a taxi would. He's going to Uber them out to the line of lane flags offshore, and that's a little time consuming too. I'd rather see them start swimming. I'd have them take off by now, but we're not down there, and we take for granted, well, you don't, Jim, because you're down there marshaling quite a bit, but you take for granted that they got to tell everybody a couple of times what's going on.
Right. Sometimes you get so excited about your event and you're so singularly focused on what exactly you're doing in that event that you completely ignore all of your surroundings.
What'd he say?
And you don't hear what the marshals say, you don't hear what the officials say, and sometimes you have to be kind of led to that event and told, hey, guess what? It's the third call. Let's get going.
Yeah. Right shoulder turn what? I know, we've heard it all before. We just host every year before we get into the regional season. We have an interzone competition here once we get our full summer staff, and each one of our 4 zones, our districts, like you have 4 districts, they compete in 5 events down in front of our main station to get some of the newer ones more acclimated to some of the main events.
Sounds like an awesome tradition. How long have you been doing that?
Forever. At least 35
How long
years.
has Volusia County had a lifeguard service?
We've had a lifeguard service from the teens.
Wow,
Yeah,
that is
from the
impressive.
teens. Between Volusia County and the Daytona Beach Lifesaving Corps, there's pictures on the wall on our 3rd floor in our photo gallery of Corps group pictures from the 1910, 1919s, and so on. And of course, Volusia County got all the lifeguards, including New Smyrna in 1973.
Right.
And then the county unified all policing and management in the late 80s.
So I'm guessing that you're talking more mid-teens, because I know
mid-teens
that Jacksonville Beach is the first lifeguard service.
Yeah, Red
and
Cross.
They started in 1912, I believe.
Right. So right after them, recreating in water and getting cars on the beach, Model Ts and such, began people recreating.
They used to do car races out here, right?
Yes, they did. The Bluebird set its world record in the measured mile here, over 300 miles an hour.
Wow.
And up until 1958.
You're not allowed to drive the lifeguard trucks that fast, though, right?
No, we got rules for that. No, we don't.
Boo.
I know. And when the Francis relocated here from South Carolina and developed NASCAR, the first Daytona, which is now known as the Daytona 500, the first Daytona races were a beach road course down south of here, about 7 miles.
Nice.
So they had stock car races and motorcycle races on the beach until 1958, when the International Speedway was built.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's quite the history, but lifesaving has been a thing since the late teens, and but 1973 the county took over all lifeguarding on the beach. It's been quite a thing since then, and right about then we started with a beach show where we just did demonstrations of lifeguard rescues, including helicopter rescues and such, and each district had a different show. One had resuscitation, one had a helicopter drop, one had a surf boat rescue, and then back in the 70s we started interzones.
Nice. And these traditions are awesome. They foster, like I said, camaraderie. Lifeguard agencies can learn from other agencies techniques that help them to be better lifesavers. It gives people something to look forward to with respect to having something to train for. To keep their their training on point. Having a goal is important when you're working out, especially if you're training to be a better lifesaver. We talked about how Huntington Beach in a couple weeks will be the site of the Nationals this year, and we also talked about some of the older beach patrols in the state. The third oldest beach patrol in the state is actually Fort Lauderdale Beach Patrol, now called Fort Lauderdale Ocean Rescue, a division of Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue. And they have been around since 1926. Miami Beach and Fort Lauderdale Beach both started in the same year, 1926, trained by lifeguards from the Jacksonville Lifesaving Service through the Red Cross back in those years. And the next Nationals next year in Fort Lauderdale will be the 100-year anniversary of their agency.
That's
from
so awesome.
1926 to 2026. So we're definitely looking forward to that. Some more history. Fort Lauderdale has hosted Nationals twice. They hosted in 2009. I had the fortune or disfortune of being the event director for that event. Lost a lot of sleep and hair and everything else that goes into the event planning and preparation for that.
It's not easy.
And then before that, the first Lifeguard Nationals ever was hosted in Fort Lauderdale in 1967.
Yeah.
And I actually have that on 16 millimeter film that we transferred to DVD. It's a pretty awesome video to watch. Old lifeguard legends in there. We have Bob Burnside from LA County competing. Jim McCarthy's competing. Eric Jerstead.
Was Bill Terry there yet?
I didn't recognize if Bill Terry was in those people, but we had teams from South Florida. There was a Miami Beach team. There was a Fort Lauderdale team. There was a Pompano team. There was a Suffolk County, New York team. There was a New Jersey team. And there was, I think, Chicago Parks team, and there was also a California team that ended up winning the whole thing by a couple points over the host team, Fort Lauderdale.
That's awesome. I mean, you're hosting two big events a year that I know of anyway. They're attracting huge crowds these nights. The Tortuga Music Festival. I don't know how you do that. It looks like half the concert's in the water.
Well, I don't do that anymore.
I know you don't.
I do everything I can to avoid that event.
And they just hosted the Blue Angels Air Show.
I did enjoy it while I worked there, but then, towards the end of your career, you kind of get over all those big events, and,
they're hard.
I'm really digging my experience down in Hallandale Beach with almost no giant events and just a much more relaxed, laid-back beach environment with some very professional lifeguards, some awesome watermen. We pull a lot of our lifeguards from Cuba. We have a lot of Cuban lifeguards, a lot of lifeguards from Argentina. Some of our Cuban lifeguards were on national swim teams and national water polo teams. We have some fantastic watermen down there, and I'm really lucky to have those guys.
That's awesome. Sort of like exchange students, professional-wise, though. I mean, they're great swimmers from other countries, and they've stood out. We had one years ago. He swam at University of Maryland, Mickey Goodner, and he lived in Puerto Rico, and he swam the Olympics against Mark Spitz in '68 in Mexico City. Yes, he spent 30 years with us and retired. Now he has 5 grandkids.
He must have also swum against Tim McKee.
I'm sure he did.
Tim McKee was an Olympic silver medalist who was a longtime lifeguard for Miami Beach, who also swam against Mark Spitz.
Yeah.
Back in those Olympics.
Yep. So we got good swimmers even back then from all over the place, and we're carrying on the tradition. And like I said, Mickey Goodner, a good friend of mine, he's got 5 little ones now, all ages. I think 2 of them have been in juniors so far. So we're gonna see yet a 3rd or 4th generation here coming up soon that I can recall, and that's what it's all about. You know, get some good experience and keep them around for a while.
So do we have all the victims out yet?
Last run right now, I think. I don't know. I see one female jumping up and down in about waist deep water. That might be the last one.
Right.
Like I said, they're taking 2 at a time out. If there was 10, that would have been all. But if it was 9, I think we don't.
Very landline intensive here at this regionals.
It is. It is. Everybody wants to participate.
And you know, I'm not going to lie. It's one of my favorite events. And if I was pulling line, I would love the fact that they've paid so much attention to this event. But I'm not. I'm up here in this.
There is 10 teams,
and there's a lot of downtime between each heat here. Much to the chagrin of the officials, the competitors, but that's just what it is. This event's hard to set up and hard to break down.
Yeah, the upside to the competitors, though, if the ladies that had just participated or involved in this event, they're saying, hey, jet ski, take your time ferrying those people out because we need a breather. But we're almost there. We're almost there. Everybody's got lines in hand and buoys and fins in hand, so they are ready.
Determined looks on their faces.
Yeah. They're hurry up already.
So this is our mixed doubles or our co-ed landline. A lot of different strategies depending on what type of athlete you have at your beach. We see a lot of male landline pullers. I see a couple male swimmers. I see a female swimmer. I guess it all depends on, like I said, what kind of athletes you have, what they're good at, and being able to utilize your best athletes for whatever purpose they're the best at.
Right. Now, you mentioned the officials out on the line. It's a long day or 2.
No doubt. I feel like I'm cheating because I'm up here in this tent sitting in this captain's chair.
Yes, you are.
Typically, every year I'm out there on the front lines with all those other officials.
And it's
I'm
brutal.
getting some side-eyed looks from them.
It's brutal.
You know, like, hey, what are you doing up in that tent? Get down in here and help us.
I'm sure they
I'd like to be down there, but we had some microphone issues, and I guess we can't get reception down there on the shoreline.
So they say in the back, but that's okay.
So they say. So I'm going to just sit up here in this tent and ramble on ad nauseum, hopefully entertaining.
This is a
I have Jack here to keep me on point.
This is a permanent position for him now. He just found out. Now, take it another day further. Come Saturday, rumor has it Juniors is here?
We do have the Southeast Regional Junior Lifeguard Competition on Saturday, and this is an amazing event. This is the future of ocean lifesaving. These are the kids that are going to grow up and become future ocean lifesavers, hopefully. Or sometimes it's just a nice summer program for kids. Sometimes, like I said, it's a farm program for for your professional lifeguard service. But more often than not, it's just about teaching kids water safety and being able to get that message out into the community. We have had junior lifeguards make rescues and be able to recognize rip currents and even do CPR at times. Because of these junior lifeguard programs, it's nice to see them compete against each other at these regional events. And this year, we're going to have a D division for the first time. We've always had AA, A, B, and C, different divisions, which are broken down by age group. This year, for the first time, we're going to use a D division, which are young athletes between the ages of 6 and 8.
Oh, wow.
And because we want to get them into the sport sooner. If you go to Australia or New Zealand, their NIPPER programs start at like 5 and 6 years old. So they definitely have a competitive advantage in these international competitions. We want to try to get some of that competitive advantage by starting our athletes a little bit younger. And our final open mixed doubles co-ed landline is off. We have our swimmers swimming out to our victims who are already placed out at the flag line. It's hard to tell.
Fins are on, everybody.
Fins
now.
are on, everybody. We have a very close race, it looks like. I don't see any swimmer that's really out in front of anybody else. A couple stragglers, but for the most part, there's a good pack of 5 or 6 that are right out there in front. Some of the lanes to the south look like they're pulling away. I think that's lane maybe 7 or maybe even 6.
It looks like 7. So here's the strategy playing in. I see a couple of female pullers, which would hand the advantage, by theory, to their swimmer if it's a male. And that would suggest that if there's a female pulling the rope.
Unless you have a super burly woman that has very strong legs, and that's your advantage. You never really know what's going on.
Okay.
I remember one year the Griffith sisters both pulled, and they were awesome at landline pulling. So,
and a slim kicker guy out there on the buoy line.
Right. We can't make any gender assumptions here. We have to just, I'm sure we've had some tryouts with these teams, and they know exactly what their athletes can do in the different positions that are needed for this event. Or maybe they made huge mistakes. I guess we'll figure that out when this is over.
We'll see. And there's places where that time can be made up. If they have a super strong pull team and didn't quite stack the swimmer, we'll see if there's time to be made up. It's a quick trip back to shore, though.
So it looks like that sixth lane team is clearly out in front. But if you look at the extreme north end of the course, we have a tight race there between lane 1 and lane 2, with lane 3 closely behind. So there's a couple little pockets of competitiveness out there. A couple stragglers.
Boy, they're on top of each other over there on the
it
north
looks like
end.
They're almost in a battle out there.
A little bit of a bend in the rope on the north end as well.
There we go. That's a little bit better footage of what we're talking about. As we have the drone headed out, you can see what we're talking about. We think that's lane 6. We're not exactly sure, but they seem to have a lead. It might be the first team to the buoy. We'll see how that plays out. And then, of course, on the north end, there's a real battle going on there between first, second, and third lanes there. It looks like the two swimmers are right on top of each other. Hopefully their lines did not get crossed.
Right.
That's a disaster when that happens.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are so tightly connected. It looks like their ropes might have overlapped, but you can't really tell now because there's such a bow in the line on the shore current. This is going to play into rope length again. Hopefully the people that are involved in this final event has optioned off of a line that was too short and got some loaner that's going to get them from point A to point B.
And I don't see this today, but when we do have rip currents on the beach during these events, it's a real advantage to have your landline swimmer swim out in the middle of the rip current. But unfortunately, on the way back in, it could be a giant disadvantage trying to pull your victim and your swimmer through a rip current. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be a factor in today's race.
Lane 8 is way out in the water with their spool. They've run out of line.
But they're in the final, so their team will get points.
Yeah.
We have a couple teams pulling. It looks like Team 1 and Team 2 in the first 2 lanes.
That's a Volusia team in lane 1.
We have a Volusia team. And it looks like they went with the 2 male pullers.
Yeah.
And they have the female victim and the victim landline swimmer. But as we look down the beach, we see a lot of female pullers as well. A lot of strategy in this race.
Yes, a lot of strategy, and this is going to be close.
That guy looks like he has a pillow on his shoulder.
He sure does.
That'll be helpful after the event. He can put it down on the ground and take a nap because he'll be so tired from pulling this rope up and down the beach.
And one that had a towel wrap is now coming out of his shirt, so he didn't duct tape properly and now has ditched it. So no cushion left.
And like I said, these landline pullers are a different breed with a very high pain threshold. There are some burning lungs and some burning quads going on right now.
Okay, so lane 1 and 2 and 3 seem to be tightly grouped, and then another lane up around lane 9 is making good headway. Yeah, I'm seeing fatigue now on the line teams.
I see the pullers starting to slow down.
Yes.
They don't have that same bounce in their step as they did the first couple pulls. This is where it gets interesting.
Even the downhill, they're getting weak. The downhill run back to retrieve another length of line is getting
This
slower.
is where your teammates come into play,
Right.
yelling and screaming words of encouragement. And we have our pullers running down to meet the swimmer victim combination. We have lane.
This is going to be
This is going to be a
super.
great race for first place coming up the beach. Looks like lane 1 is in first place.
But
No,
they've opted. Oh, they quit pulling.
They made a crucial mistake.
They had one more pull.
They should have pulled it one more time. The Volusia team pulled
yep.
all the way up to the flag line, which was the right thing to do in that scenario. Looks like they're going to be our champions.
No, the Volusia team was the one that shorted themselves one length.
Okay.
To lose first place.
My
to
bad.
lane 3.
So anyway,
which is Navarra maybe.
We looked at the two different strategies, and looks like the best strategy was to pull the victim all the way up to the flag line.
And their pullers ran out of steam. He lost his padding.
Yeah.
They were. The wheels were coming off of it
No
in the final
criticism, though.
stage.
This
No
is
criticism.
such a hard event.
Hey, second is good.
We have another race going on at the south end of the course here.
They've got to redirect it into their proper lane. It's not going to cost them anything.
The way this event finishes, you're allowed to finish on either side of your flag. So you can actually finish in 2 lanes, 1 lane north and 1 lane south of your flag. But you can't just finish anywhere along the flag line.
Yeah, a couple of them had to correct the lane.
And we do that so that the lines don't get all crossed up.
It looks like a rescuer has gotten separated from their buoy. One of the teams still in the water. They're halting the buoy, the victim holding the buoy, so they don't progress any until they reconnect. Hopefully the judges will assess. To see if they violated any of the rules. I don't think they did. It looked like they corrected.
Yeah, they look like they corrected. We'll see. But they do have to finish all touching, all 4 of them, as a unit in the upright position as they cross the flag line. Looks like they might have just given up.
Yeah, that might not have happened.
Yeah,
that may not have happened.
There might have been some technical difficulties that we didn't know about there.
And still a team in the water, and they're doing it right just in case. If there's any DQs, they don't want to miss any part of this process, so they get credited with a complete finish that was legal. Okay, that's going to wrap up the line pull. Co-ed, open division.
Do we know yet whether we have an open men's final or whether they're going to go right to the stopwatch times? I hope they go with the stopwatch times. I think people might be a little burned out on the landline event at this point.
Yeah, then again, I'm not sure. Hopefully that was
But I'm not speaking for everybody.
They're pulling a lane marker, but that may be because we have a tide coming in, and they got to reset lanes.
So let's go back to the team title right now. We've had a shift in places with respect to who's in first place. The home team, Volusia Surf Lifesaving Association, is now in first place with 150 points, followed closely by Deerfield Beach in second place with 114 points, and tied for second place with also 114 points, Fort Lauderdale Ocean Rescue. We have the Emerald Coast chapter, which I believe is the entire Florida Panhandle except for Destin. And they are in fourth place with 107 points. Destin followed closely by Destin in fifth place with 89 points. Clearwater, 2 points back at 87 points.
Wow.
Palm Beach County in seventh place with 67 points. Then we have Boca with 61. Delray Beach at 50. St. Johns County at 49. Sarasota County at 46, Martin County at 34, Miami Beach with 33 points. Lantana, we have a drop after Miami Beach. Lantana has 5.5. Atlantic Beach, which I thought was in the South Atlantic region.
They are. They're around Jacksonville.
Are they like an exhibition team
I
today?
suppose so, because they probably don't want to travel to.
Okay.
They didn't want to go up.
So technically, their points are not supposed to count towards the team title, but we'll have to look into that. Manatee County, like I said, the first time they've ever fielded a team to regionals with 5 points in 13th place, and then we have Flagler Beach in 15th place.
Also, I do believe a South Atlantic team.
Flagler is actually in the Southeast region.
Did they join Southeast?
Yes.
Okay.
That
was a smart move for them.
Yeah, they're very close to Volusia County, right?
Oh, they're right next door.
Yeah, they're
right next door.
They're still in the Southeast region. I think it's the beaches north of Volusia County that are in the South Atlantic.
We start St. John's North, maybe St. Augustine beaches.
Oh, that's right. St. John's is also in the Southeast region.
So they decided to come with us. So maybe
we've been trying to get those northern Florida beaches back into the Southeast region for years.
Logistically wise, it makes sense.
It makes sense, but I think what has happened is once Volusia left the South Atlantic, teams like Jacksonville are like, hey, we can win regionals now. So I think we're going to stay in the South Atlantic. But
okay.
I'm speculating. I don't know what their reasons are. We have nothing negative to say about the South Atlantic region.
No,
they do a great job up there as well. But, I'm going to always be the homer for the Southeast region and try to get those guys back into our region.
Right. I mean, we forget, you got Myrtle Beach and Charleston. You got a lot, Horry County. There's a lot of places up there that aren't familiar with a lot of people, but boy, they got huge crowds in the summer. And
absolutely.
They have huge rescues and lots of lifeguards. So more power to them.
Yeah, they've got some great professional agencies up there in the Mid-Atlantic and the South Atlantic. Like you said, South Carolina's got Hilton Head, they've got Myrtle Beach, they've got North Myrtle Beach. We have Tybee Island in Georgia. There's a lot of lifeguarded beaches up in those areas.
Okay, they're taking down lane markers now, but I do believe that might just be movement for tide, incoming tide right now. So we're gaining water distances. So I'm glad the line pull's done.
So I guess we're going to go with a single surf boat, but I'm not exactly sure. I don't see anybody marshaling any boats over there. Or maybe we're just setting up for the final in the open men's landline. We're not sure if we have an open men's final landline. They might have gone with stopwatch times for the two heats from earlier.
Yeah, there was a group of 7 and a group of 8 to start in open, and we just don't know if they had timed results.
If you look at your screen, you can see a couple women out there practicing their paddle pickup. That's a very difficult event. Takes incredible balance and coordination. They're getting their last-minute practices in before the event.
Yeah. I was looking, and then I just seen you. I was like, oh, okay, there it goes.
Yeah, you'll see me in beach flags tonight. That's what I'm excited for.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You competed in tonight?
Oh, just landline.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking all that. It's such a shit show. The flag arm's way too